Christina Grimmie was a popular YouTuber and American singer with an explosively popular career, gaining over 2 million subscribers and gathering 645 million views. Not even the sky was her limit. But following the grave actions of a deeply disturbed individual, all of this would change in the mere blink of an eye. What exactly happened to Christina Grimmie? What were the complexities behind her tragedy? And could anything have been done to prevent the outcome? Welcome back to Coffee House Crime, folks. My name is Adrian, and today we're going to be looking at the tragic case of Christina Grimmie. Now, admittedly, Christina ended up being much more than just a YouTuber, but this is where her career would begin and flourish. I won't be diving too much into her history and fame, as a lot of us know her already. But today we also explore this tragedy's aggravating factors, the parameters which allowed it to happen, and what could have been done to prevent such a thing. And of course, just to let you know, I post solved, unsolved, and strange cases here weekly. So if that's of interest to you, please consider subscribing to Coffee House Crime. So please, grab yourself a coffee. This is the case of Christina Grimmie. Expansive coastlines, the Hudson River, and of course, an incredible view of one of the most recognizable cities in the world. Welcome to New Jersey, folks. With 11 state forests and 39 state parks, New Jersey has a lot to offer when it comes to outdoor activities. And from an economic point of view, a lot goes on here. Featuring heavy pharmaceutical, biotechnical, IT, and financial industrialization, the state of New Jersey is a dominant player in the modern-day market. To add to this, it's also a critical state from an agricultural point of view too. Last year alone, New Jersey produced over 46 million pounds or 21 million kilograms of blueberries. That's enough to fill the Tower of Big Ben 8 times over. Okay, so that took me longer to calculate than I expected, and perhaps it's entirely useless to this story. But nevertheless, New Jersey's agricultural stake in the market has earned itself the nickname of the Garden State of America. It is also home state to many celebrities such as Shaquille O'Neal, Whitney Houston, Peter Dinklage, Danny DeVito, and of course, Christina Grimmie. It was on March the 12th, 1994, that Christina Victoria Grimmie was born to Tina and Albert Grimmie. Her mother, Tina, worked as a receptionist, while her father worked at Verizon Communications. Christina was of Italian and Romanian descent. She grew up in Malton, New Jersey, alongside her older brother Marcus, and the two held a very powerful brother-sister bond. Now, there are several reasons behind this, but the main one would stem from the family struggles which began when Christina was just 1 year old. Unfortunately, her mother, Tina, would be diagnosed with breast cancer. She would, however, overcome it twice, as her cancer would go into remission in 1995 and again in 1998. But being faced with such a dreadful disease would bring the fragility of life and the beauty of time to the forefront of the Grimmie family. They lived every day with thankfulness and loved each other endlessly. And as a result, Marcus and Christina were best friends. Even from a very young age, Christina held a very recognizable talent in music, and in fact, at just 6 years old, her father could recognize this. By the age of 10, she was actively playing the piano. Christina attended Bethel Baptist Christian School, and while here, her passion for music and singing continued to flourish. To add to this, her parents were very supportive of her aspirations, and they claimed that, deep down, they knew she would go on to become an internationally recognized singer. Now, it was in the year 2009, and at the age of 15, that Christina uploaded her first video to YouTube. She had already been creating videos for a short while, sharing them with family and friends. But several of her friends had suggested that she should start uploading her videos to YouTube, as it was an excellent way to become known outside her immediate sphere of influence. So on July the 17th, 2009, she uploaded her first video titled, Me Singing Don't Wanna Be Torn by Hannah Montana.
And I'm going to be playing on piano, and if some of the notes are wrong, you know, or whatever. I'm playing it for like, I guess a week now. Hope you like it.
Christina had no idea what to expect from publishing her first video. She didn't think it would gain many views, nor would it lead to anything outside her own self-practice. But very little did she know that this small step of uploading an amateur video from her bedroom would lead to a sequence of events that would thrust her deep into the spotlight. Within hours, her first video had garnered tens of thousands of views. She received several new comments every hour, and her positive impact on those watching was significant. This kind of positive reinforcement encouraged Christina to continue with her videos. And in fact, on her third video, titled Me Singing Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus, she would go viral.
Hi, I'm gonna sing Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. When it gets to the high notes, I don't really, it's kind of difficult for me to sing. My voice has been going through a lot of crappy problems. I hope you like it though, so, okay. I hopped off the plane at LAX with my dream in my cardigan. Welcome to the land of fame exists. Am I gonna fit in?
Within hours of uploading, she gained millions of views and thousands of subscribers. Now, Christina was already well liked amongst her peers at school, but the overnight explosion in views would forever change this dynamic. She became extremely popular in a very short amount of time. This would sadly come with a few negative caveats too. As we all know, any sort of prominence online will come with both compliments and insults, and for Christina, this was no different. Christina was adored by many of her new followers, but she also had haters too. Ones made fun of her voice, personality, nose, or just her recent streak of luck. In other words, jealousy. So Christina left her school around this time and switched over to homeschooling. This would help her focus on her budding music career while also avoiding the abnormal fame in high school. Her views and subscribers would dramatically climb with thanks to Christina's passion and success. And as this happened, other creatives began to take notice. This included the attention of other YouTubers such as Kurt Hugo Schneider and Sam Tsui. Kurt was a much larger player working in the same field as Christina. He often featured other creatives on his channel, and after noticing Christina, he thought she was a perfect fit for the project he'd been working on, a medley of songs by Miley Cyrus. The two would eventually agree to collaborate, and after a successful performance, Christina would agree to collaborate again later in the same year. In November of 2010, Kurt, Christina and Sam covered Just a Dream by Nelly. Not only would these videos expose Christina to a brand new audience, but this song in particular would explode in popularity, drawing more eyes, fame and attention to the ever-growing Christina. And fast forward to the year 2011, Christina's budding music career had quite visibly gained momentum. In January of 2011, she had hit 500,000 subscribers. And by spring of that same year, Christina scored second place in the My YouTube competition, only being beaten by no other than Selena Gomez. This close call gained the attention of Selena's mother, Mandy Teefey, who was quick to offer her management services to Christina. Needless to say, she accepted the offer, and by summertime, Christina found herself voice training and hanging out with Selena Gomez.
Okay, see ya. And there's Selena Gomez right there.
Oh my gosh, hi.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a web chat.
No.
Hi.
There's Selena.
Looking all fabulous for my meeting.
Oh, you're always fabulous, dear.
Alright. Come watch a movie with me.
Okay, I will come watch a movie with you.
Now, this is irrelevant to the main story, but I wanted to highlight a bloopers video that Christina made. By all means, she was very talented, but we are all human and we all make mistakes. Allowing yourself to open up and expose your weaknesses to people around you can provide a great sense of connection. And through these video clips, her real authentic self really shines through.
That was terrible. I got started over now. What the heck was that? I don't even know. You have to show them the oh my god, wrong part. Also, I don't even know what I want to say right now. Thanks for watching, and I just said that. Oh my god, I just said that. Thanks for watching, and do it again. That was real sharp. To an end. Are you serious? Are you serious? No. More! Matt. Okay. Don't put a hole in the wall. Oh! So, I keep saying,
Throughout the following years, Christina relentlessly pursued her dreams. She would also move to Los Angeles with her mother to further train and make new connections in the industry. The next couple of years were wild for Christina. She became the presenter of Disney's new web show, Power Up, released her first full-length album, With Love, and performed for several tours. She would go on to perform on The Voice, reach 2 million subscribers on YouTube, sign up with record label Island Records, produce several EPs, and create her first sophomore album. Honestly, the list, it just goes on and on. Christina's career was rocketing. On June the 10th, 2016, Christina had agreed to perform with American pop rock band Before You Exit at the Plaza Live, an old theatre found in the heart of Orlando, Florida. At 2:50 p.m, she posted a video on Facebook to ask local fans to attend the event and support her.
Hey guys, what's up? We're in Orlando today. Please come to the show if you live near Orlando, Florida. We are at the Plaza Live. Please come out.
She had already performed with Before You Exit over the recent fortnight, including Toronto a few days prior and New York a few days before that. This was a well-rehearsed gig and didn't stand out any different from the rest of her concerts. The tickets were cheap to purchase, only costing $15 to attend the event, which was perfect for fans, as a lot of her audience were on the younger side of life. Opening time was as usual. The doors opened at 6 p.m, with Christina booked to perform at 7 p.m. And as 7 o'clock rolled around, Christina's introduction ignited the crowd into an eruption of excitement. Alongside her brother, who was playing as the lead guitarist behind her, Christina's performance went by without a hitch. The crowd was quite visibly moved by her singing. That is, almost all but one of them. Found towards the back of the main concert hall was this unmoved figure. This man, dressed in a plaid shirt, trousers, and black cap, went by the name of Kevin Loibl. Kevin was strange to say the least. Born on March the 10th, 1989, his mother Nora and father Paul raised him in St. Petersburg, Florida. There isn't a great amount of information about his childhood, but Kevin was not a popular kid. Most of his classmates found him to be strange and quiet. He barely had any friends while growing up, and instead, he spent most of his days online. There were problems within the family too. Dysfunctional and at times abusive, his mother would beat him with a frying pan, throw dishes at him, and apparently, she even broke his brother's arm. In 2010, his mother unfortunately died from an aspirin overdose, which was ruled accidental, but Kevin would blame himself for her death, as he often encouraged her to end her own life. Nora's death brought further pain to Kevin's life, and as she faded out of the family's existence, Paul began to date another woman, someone who Kevin despised of. Over the next 2.5 years, law enforcement were called to the property several times. Most of these were against Kevin's violence, and one time, he had even slammed a door against her wrists. Approaching adulthood, Kevin withdrew from himself and the rest of society even further. He dropped out of college, covered his bedroom windows with aluminium foil, barricaded his door, and spent all of his time on the PC game World of Warcraft. And although he had found himself a part-time job at Best Buy, managers were not impressed with his performance. They eventually moved him to the Geek Squad team, so he wouldn't have to interact with as many customers. Kevin was lost to the unhealthy lifestyle in which he'd placed himself in, and at the age of 25, he had no direction, made no efforts to nurture relationships, and had no aspirations in life. That was until the year 2015, when, suddenly, Christina randomly appeared in his YouTube recommendations. Kevin became infatuated with Christina, and this may very well have been the first time that he ever felt love. But of course, this admiration was one way, and in reality, Christina didn't even know he existed. It was likely her interest in gaming that caused the sudden fascination. But soon enough, Kevin loved everything about her. In fact, over the next year, Kevin would embark on a huge change in his lifestyle in order to impress Christina. He lost 50 pounds of weight, undertook eye surgery, had his teeth whitened, and got hair implants to hide his receding hairline. He even became a devout Christian, claiming that she showed him the way. When colleagues heard of Kevin's delusions and highlighted the slim chance of him ever being with Christina, he immediately became defensive and even threatened to end their friendships. And in April of 2016, one of Kevin's only friends noticed the spiraling obsession. But after asking his manager if there was anything he could do to intervene, the answer was no. Since Kevin hadn't caused any violence, there were no grounds to act upon. But the very next month, in May of 2016, things would suddenly take a turn for the worse. Kevin purchased 2 firearms along with dozens of rounds of ammunition. And 2 days later, he purchased a ticket to see Christina at the Plaza Live. 2 days before this concert, he returned a bunch of science magazines to his colleague and friend Corey. He told him that he loved him, that he was tired, and that he was ready to ascend. The next day, he packed a bag full of toiletries, his 2 new pistols, a hunting knife, and 3 boxes of bullets. and after hiding his computer hard drive, he ordered a taxi and made his way to the Marriott Hotel found near the venue. He stayed in this room overnight, where, no doubt, he would have been lost in his own thoughts. And this, of course, takes us back to the Plaza Live. Just after 10 PM on June the 10th, 2016, both Christina and Before You Exit had finished their performance for the night. But Christina was doing one of the many things that she does best, meeting and connecting with her fans. She had organised a stand to sell and sign merchandise. Her brother Marcus, who was standing next to her in her booth, noticed Kevin at the end of the queue. He thought it was rather odd for a man his age to be here, as most of Christina's fans were much younger than he was. And as the minutes ticked by, the queue whittled down until Kevin was near the front. As Kevin approached Christina, he said nothing. He just coldly stared at her in the eyes. Christina instead opened her arms for a hug, trying to break the awkwardness emanating from him. Kevin drew one of his firearms, aimed it directly at Christina, and pulled the trigger. As screams echoed throughout the hall, Mark looked up to see his sister fall to the floor. By the time he had managed to tackle Kevin, 4 more shots had rung out. The two wrestled on the floor before Kevin managed to scramble away and draw a second firearm. For one split second, Mark was sure that he was next, that he was going to die. But instead, Kevin aimed his gun at his own head, and then pulled the trigger. As soon as the final gunshot was heard, the father of Before You Exit's band members ran out of the backstage to see 2 bodies on the floor. He found Kevin Leubel dead. Christina had a pulse, but it was faint. He performed CPR until emergency services arrived, who would then rush her to Orlando Regional Medical Center. But tragically, these efforts were to no avail, as shortly after this, Christina Grimmie would tragically pass away. Although at first it wasn't entirely clear who had been shot, all of those at the concert who had physically seen Christina fall to the floor were in despair. And come morning, not hundreds or thousands, but millions of people were devastated. And at the epicenter of it all was Marcus, who had witnessed the death of his best friend and sister. Side note, but there are many videos online which claim this video was taken just seconds before Kevin approached Christina. But one quick comparison of the floor and table discredits this. Following the tragic and untimely death of Christina, many questions would come to light. If we first focus on Kevin, was there anything that could have been done to stop his actions prior to June the 10th? Despite his infatuation with Christina, he had never shared this with his family, who were just as shocked as the rest of the world when this happened. But saying this, his friend was well aware of this obsession. To be honest with you, there isn't much that Dean could have done to prevent this from happening. He never thought that the man was capable of doing such a thing, and the only sign of trouble was when Kevin told him that he was ready to ascend. But collectively, as an entire community around Kevin, they all failed to help him get the mental health treatment that he so desperately needed. There is normally no defining moment that screams, yes, I need mental health treatment. But collectively, over the years, there were many clues to his instability. The next big question, and likely generally more pertinent, revolves around security. Why hadn't Kevin been caught at the front doors of the event? And, more important, how did he get through with several firearms? Like most of America, business owners and operators in Florida have a general legal obligation to keep their customers and providers safe. This will usually come in the form of a standardized contract, which the performing artists at this event would have had to approve. From a preemptive contractual point of view, it is arguable that both the venue and the performing artists failed to enforce strict enough security measures. However, most of the time, performing artists have no need to request additional contract requirements, as, quite simply, they expect a venue's general management team to effectively do their job. Common security measures revolve around lighting, fencing, video surveillance, trespassing, and, most crucial to this case, inspections and patting down upon arrival. Of course, also known as frisk searching. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Only 9 days prior to Christina's death, the Plaza Live allegedly fired their entire general management team in order to cut costs. In an open letter from the former general manager who was fired, Kirk Colvin said, "As of June the 1st, I was no longer employed by the board as the GM of the Plaza Live and have not been on site ever since. It was not publicly known that the entire management team was replaced by the Orlando Philharmonic Board on June the 1st for the stated reason to go in a different direction. And I believe that the replacements hired were inexperienced and ill-prepared to manage the plaza. So, from what is publicly available, it seems that this change in management was very ill-timed in the face of Christina's impending tragedy." The most obvious red flag in this case was the inadequate frisk searching that would have surely caught Kevin Loibl. With 2 firearms, a large hunting knife, and 2 additional loaded magazines, any solid attempt at being patted down would have caught him in his tracks. But apparently, on the night, all that was checked were bags and purses. Now, rules and laws change depending on the state, country, and time, and I am not directly fully blaming the Plaza's board of directors for Christina's death. But at least here in the UK, I can't recall a single time when I was not physically searched prior to entry. Additional yet smaller factors come into consideration too. Christina was an emerging celebrity born out of social media, and more specifically YouTube. And although her career was taking off, she was still relatively small when compared to larger celebrities like Madonna or Selena Gomez. The smaller you are, the less money you make, and the less money you make, the less likely you can afford personal security. At the time of Christina's death, Marcus confirmed that they never had a negative encounter with fans. So this event entirely blindsided them, and they likely felt very little need for personal security in addition to the venue's security. But again, if the venue security were adequate, then why would you need a personal bodyguard anyway? So, could all of this have been avoided? The short answer is yes. But of course, there are layers upon layers of factors, all of which came together from different angles to provide a horrible outcome. With neglected opportunities to salvage Kevin's mental health, inadequate changes to venue security, and a moment of very bad luck, this combination would result in Christina Grimmie tragically losing her life. And honestly, this leaves me heartbroken, alongside the millions upon millions of her fans. Kevin's motive still remains partially unclear to this day, but over the following days and weeks, it became theorized that he snapped in a jealous fit of rage, after learning that Christina had started dating a fellow musician, Steven Reza. With Kevin's hard drive never located, it is unlikely that the world will ever fully understand the headspace he was in, just moments before killing the woman he obsessively doted on. It's tragic that he would do something so hideous to someone he apparently loved, which does make you wonder if it was ever love in the first place. Christina Grimmie had the world at her fingertips. She was up and coming, growing in popularity very quickly, and had an extremely bright future ahead of her. It is almost impossible to believe that a young woman, who had so much potential for her future, would have everything taken away at the hands of a delusional, obsessive waste of space. She was a kind and loving person who always tried to keep the peace, and she was seriously talented on so many levels. She worked hard for what she wanted in life, and she even achieved it. Christina's YouTube channel and social media accounts still post content to this very day, in fierce loving remembrance of her. The Plaza has since stepped up its security measures to include metal detectors and pat-downs as part of its screening process, and even very recently it's updated its bag policy. But just in my opinion, this is too little too late. In the year 2018, Christina's mother, Tina, unfortunately lost her battle against breast cancer. Marcus still talks about how much he misses his sister and best friend, and now his mother too. And Steven still writes and creates songs after the loss of his girlfriend, as he too finds it emotionally difficult to move on. His new song, Hard Mode, is actually very heartfelt and very good. So how do I wrap this one up? Christina's case is very unique and difficult. In a role like hers, where you must engage with your audience at all times, it is impossible not to expose yourself to other people's opinions and feelings. Now, most of the time, this kind of public engagement is a blessing, but it can also be a curse. And, of course, in this instance, the curse is Kevin Loibl. All of this demonstrates the necessity, not just for celebrities or even YouTubers, but everyone to demonstrate safe practices online and make sure that no one can find out where you are. I don't think that the world will ever fully get over Christina's death, but I do hope that Marcus, Steven, Bud, and the tens of millions of Christina's fans will one day find peace. Thank you so much for watching another video today by Coffee House Crime. If you found this case interesting, then please remember to like the video and subscribe if you haven't yet. What do you think of the case of Christina Grimmie? Do you think the Plaza could have prevented this from happening? Or do you think this all lies with Kevin's mental health? Of course, please let me know in the comments section down below. Thank you again for watching, folks, and I'll see you again real soon in another video. Until that moment arrives though, remember to look after each other. Thank you, and goodbye.